Alright, finally, let's do that. Shadow Walk With Me. This is the final quest in the, what do we call it? The world quest line of Shadowbringers. No, if it isn't the Great Hunter himself. Excuse me. If you don't know, all four of the cardinal virtues laid low, all with your help. You're the talk of the stairs, Ronald. When the night returned to Lakeland, we knew in our hearts that change was on the horizon. And never did I dare hope that you might help rid us of those terrible feelings. You suppressed my wildest expectations. Not mine, Glenar. When I first laid eyes on him, had an inkling that he was the hero we've been waiting to come along. Heh. Easy to claim after the fact. If you'd indulge me, though, I would love to hear you tell how it all played out. The hunting of the virtues have. My word, there's so much more to it than I realized. And there I thought you only have to hack down the bloody things. God, no. The things you've learned about the warriors of light. So many secrets and details lost over time. For all their hard work and sacrifice, they somehow brought about the flood. Can't say I understand it all, but it's a bloody tragedy, it is. We should gather the others and toast our memories, heroes of El, brave and true to be remembered forevermore. Now, I'll thank you not to let your bleeding heart drive you to offer up a fortnight's stock of spirits. Attend to your other customers and let me speak with the hero of here and now. Oh. Whatever would I do without your good sense and wisdom? Very well. I leave you to entertain him. But don't think we won't be having that drink someday. Honor, I must thank you for sharing with us such incredible tales. It is only right that I pay you in kind. With the ending that is, but the story of the true villain who towers above the virtues, the devil more deserving of death than any that yet lingers in this world. If your curiosity has been piqued, then meet with me atop the balcony overlooking the crystalline mean. I will be waiting here until you do. There can't be. Well, if the final... That's interesting. Because I think because our Arbor died. He wasn't turned into a Sin Eater. He was flat out destroyed in the end. And then walked around as a spirit. So, who's the worst enemy of them all? You came as I knew you would. Never met a mystery. You could leave well enough alone, or a demon that you could let live. Am I right? And this demon is undeniably deserving of death. Make no mistake. To cut them down would be just improper. The act of a goodly person, and that is just what you are. I can see that. Don't need to grow impatient or be offended, my friend. But before you pass judgment on this villain, you need to first understand their part in everything. Who they were to the fallen warriors of light, for instance. Of course, right about now, you must be wondering how I know what I know. What a tavern wretch of all people has got to do with any of this. Let me tell you then. I am the one who brought together The Virtue Hunters. I am the one who marked you as a potential ally to them and bade you join them in their quest. I alone knew what had to be done and what sort of sinner would be needed to see this tale of tragedy and betrayal brought to an end. But come, we have many miles ahead of us still. To Calusa and the Cogger's Crook. I will go on ahead and wait for you there. Who are you? I don't like where this is going now. Maybe I shouldn't have touched this quest because it's starting to get weird. Because I don't have a clue. Like, because the four cardinal virtues were the other heroes of light. And it can't be Arbor. This final enemy cannot be Arbor because that would make no sense. But she said that this person is connected to them, though. You're accustomed to life on the road, I see. As am I. Whoa. Do you recognize this place? I thought you might. Here is where it began. Where Arbor first met Lemit. I don't know, we're going down History Road. Still young and lacking in experience, but possessed of so much potential. Heroes in the making. Even then, the keen eye could see. They would only fulfill that promise much later, though, after joining with their other dear companions, Radin and Rendire. And one other, an elven woman, not half bad with a sword. But perhaps you are already asking the question who? There were 5 warriors allied in all. She would make 6. I've seen her. I've seen her sometimes with them. She was there, She was there. She was there when, Oh. Indeed, after adding in Nailbert, yeah. There does seem to be one too many, but believe me when I say there is indeed a 6th adventurer lost in history, and her name was Severa. It's you, isn't it? It's you. Though I doubt I need to convince you of this truth. When you walked into Virtue's memories, you saw her time and time again, did you not? You. Then you saw the true villain, the traitor responsible for all their woes. Let us continue the story out to Amarang, the fields of Amber. Wait, what do you mean she betrayed them? I mean, how do you betray them? Was she the... Whoops, I didn't mean to hit that button. I was trying to read whatever was going on there. You saw the true villain's face in our memories, and I told you her name in Calusia. But what was her crimes, you ask? Harking to my tale and you will learn. Silova had joined the others before they first met Nilbert. After their party of 5 came to this place, they took on a commission to slay a powerful beast that had taken up residence in the mines. Oh, yeah. Said beast was believed to be the instigator of ever more terrible tremors, and so time was of the essence. But during their hurried search, they crossed paths with their future companion, and then the competitor aiming to usurp their prize. After another tremor triggered by the beast trapped them all underground, they had no choice but to work together to lay it low. But to their dismay, even after its death, the earth continued to shudder violently. As the adventurers looked to each other in confusion, Nelbert strode towards the beast's body and grabbed hold of a curious stone, a stone brimming with untold ether that he had sought out, that he might harness its potential to rescue a loved one lost to the rift. Well, yeah. But so powerful was the stone that it warped the flow of the life stream. Its very existence was a threat, and so when faced with the choice between one life and countless others, Nelbert wept and shattered the stone. He had held his comrade's salvation in his hands and cast it aside for the greater good. For his sacrifice, he was judged a hero, and in that instant, a warrior of light was born. In life, Nilbert was a pragmatic figure whose wisdom and sagacity were admired by all. Little wonder that in death he would retain his virtue. But as Nilbert mourned the friend he lost forever, the betrayers, however, looked on in silent contentment, for they had taken the first step on their path towards becoming heroes brave and true. His sacrifice had sparked the transformation to his fuel for the ritual to come. What ritual, you may wonder? Fear not, all will be clear in time. Come with me to Rectica, and the citrus swamps. We must retrace the steps as they were taken to understand the depth of her treachery. Man, just rip her heart out already. We know it's her. I could tell. That's... Oh. Oh. What is that? Oh, the Blue String River. What is that noise? Oh. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting out of here, though. The way he's dressed makes me think of the Paladin for the Warriors. That's what he looks like. That's what he looks like he's dressed as. It's just he's a red mage. Amazing. Huh. This place, too, is familiar to you now, in days recent and long since past. After the events in Amorana, Arbor and his comrades grew in fame, spurring others to entreat their aid. The adventurers sought out greater and greater challenges. In pursuit of another, they came to Ratika. While here, the hunter and runner learned that the notorious mark, Balam's was near, and so, under cover of darkness, she slipped away from the others to slay the beast by herself. Like Nilbert before, of course, you already know what her motives was. Had robbed her of her fellow hunters, only vengeance would redress the balance. Moreover, she would not dare risk the lives of her new comrades, so terrified was she of a mere possibility that she might have to relive that terrible day. And so she faced Balakots alone and would have surely died had Ardbert and the others not arrived in time to help. She got a crystal. Like Noble before, of course, you have already know what happened next. For her love, her conviction, and her resolve was she chosen by Heidelin. And from that day forward, Brenda Ree swore never again to betray her comrades' trust, to share with them the triumphs and the tragedies, to relinquish the freedom she had once held in the highest. The bravest and most courageous hunter that ever was, that moment would define what she became in life and in death. Her sacrifice would hasten the transformation. This was fuel for the ritual to come. The betrayer, Silva looked on yet more satisfied. They were oblivious to her machinations, unaware that they were dancing to her tune. Their journeys continued, and so must ours, to Elmeg. Are you trying to say that she, that Sylvia, that this woman, this betrayer was a past Oracle of Light or something? Like, was it Melfina or Menphilia? Why did I? Melfina is one of the main characters from Outlaw Star. I kind of want to go watch it sometime soon. That's a good series, by the way. So yeah. How's everyone doing? Now we'll talk about this is where you did the tank quest at the end. I did the tank quest as Gunbreaker. This is in Shadowbringers. It's beautiful now as it was then. You saw it too. Would you not agree? With the death of Bonsko, the legend of Arbor and his comrades had grown larger than ever. Thus emboldened, they came to the kingdom of Volbert. Volbert had long been troubled by what some had dubbed a magical plague, innocents found transformed into misshapen fiends that the kingdom's knights had no choice but to put down ere the contagion spread. Had been one such knight. In his youth, he had served the princess Saludia faithfully, wanting to be cast out for a single mistake. Thus did he take to the road where he met Arbor and the others. Having grown stronger and wiser and more respected, felt it was time to return and redeem himself, and with the aid of his comrades, he did just that. Tadric, the court mage, was unmasked as the mastermind of Forbart's misery, and by disgraced knight's blade was he brought to justice. But with his dying breath, Tadric cursed the princess, sentencing her to a fate worse than death. At her behest did he rise up his blade and for the sake of the kingdom strike down his liege lady. With that single stroke he forever changed, though nearly not in the way that was necessary. He stood at the precipice and almost forsook his compassion for unflinching judgment, but mercifully turned aside at the last. Thus did he find and embrace true justice, that which weighs law and heart together, and strives for a greater good. 'Tis a long, difficult road from which many stray, settling for simple oralities. But I would expect no less of the man who became Daikasun. His sacrifice would strengthen the transformation. 'Tis fuel for the ritual to come. As her companions grew ever more powerful, so too did the betrayer Silva. Bit by bit, they brought her closer to her goal. But it was not yet finished. To Calusia they returned, and so must we. Tomra, next chapter of our tale await. Look, can we just get to the point where we just knock person out? I know it's her. It's her. It's the betrayer. What's worse is... I clean this all up. One day. One day, I'm just gonna take a month, disappear into this game, and just go at it. Just get everything done. But I kind of want to do it before the next patch, which is 6.2. Slowly but surely, the adventurers were fulfilling their potential. Word of their deeds in Burma spread like wildfire, and their legend grew ever larger. But for all their success, the fledgling heroes would soon be forced to endure more hardships and welcome more sacrifice. They pressed deeper into the depths of Raktika, towards ancient Raqqa. It was there that the dwarf, Lamet, came to a crossroads, and for in claiming the magic she desperately desired, she would be forced to renounce something equally precious. Dwarves of a reclusive lot, wont to withdraw from the outside world, that their many traditions might be preserved in isolation. When the stone blight began to spread, they chose to lock away the afflicted and refused to seek outside help. But Lamet would not abide this. She vowed to save her ailing kin, her sister among them, even if it meant violating dwarven law. With her newfound powers, she returned and cured the sick, and for this she was banished by the Council of Elders. This came as no surprise, for she had made her peace with it long before. When she stood in that ancient ruin and called upon forgotten guardians to grant her forbidden knowledge, she knew then what the price would be. She had weighed her traditions and identity against the lives of those she loved and made her choice, though it pained her terribly in ways only a dwarf could understand, and Heidelin, it would seem. Through hardship and sacrifice was a new warrior of Lightforge, a healer that knew more than any the value of a life and would do anything to see it preserved, even in death. The sacrifice would nearly complete the transformation. It was fuel for the ritual to come, very soon then, very soon. Barber and his comrades had stumbled upon evidence of a larger design, threads linking together the desperate troubles of the realm. A name spoken only in whispers, Shadowkeeper. A singular force sowing chaos and discord throughout Narvara to an unknown end. The warriors truly wished to save the world, then they would need to confront this villain amongst villains. And at the end of their exhausting search, at the end of their struggle, who do you think they found waiting to welcome them with open arms? The answer to that awaits us in Lakeland, our final destination. The Varian yet walks among us, Ronald, unknown and unpunished. Go on ahead and wait for me at Laxton Loft. There are preparations to which I must first attend. Yeah, I guess you'll need to have to get into a new outfit and stuff, right? We know how this plays out. It's not hard to piece together. Or do we? Because I'm probably going to be completely wrong and I'm going to be like, what the frick? Wait, we're going into the castle? Yeah. I don't think I've ever actually been inside there. Wow. You don't really... Are they Senators? No. No, they're darkness itself. Oh, God. You think they're suffering? They were suffering under the eternal light? Oh, what the... Considering the flood. Whoa. Wait. Yeah. I knew it. Nice sword, though. Can I get that? Can I have that? You, Sylvia. We were comrades in arms, friends. That we were, and that we are. Everything I said, everything I felt, it was all true. You mean the world to me. You're the bloody Shadowkeeper. What in the hells was this for? To keep the balance, I bet. For you, for every one of you, to forge you into heroes worthy of her blessing, that she might choose you as her champions. A ruthless mage consumed by the pursuit of power to save his friend no matter the cost. By his sacrifice, a warrior born. A mournful hunter, scarred by tragedy, resolved never again to trust in others. By her sacrifice, a warrior born. A disgraced knight, who yearned to steal his heart in justice's arms, in justice's name, by his sacrifice, a warrior born. A troubled healer torn between tradition and love, by her sacrifice, a warrior born. This isn't about good or evil. She needed them to be warriors of light, so that most likely to make sure that threats could be dealt with. And their leader, an adventurer with a heart overflowing with love for his dearest comrades, who must now bring his axe to bear against his own. By his sacrifice, a warrior born. I am the villain you seek, the keeper of shadows, from a world shrouded in dark. By our struggle, will this world be shattered and its souls saved. Oh, great. No. Oh, my God. Don't make me fight as them. The only problem is you don't have to fight anymore. Saw it all, did you? I thought you might. Mother's gift has a knack for showing us exactly what we need to see, if not what we want to, or when. They knew me as Sylvia, but my real name, it doesn't matter. Like you, I am not of this world. I crossed the rift and came to the first. My home. The 13th fell to dark in a calamity that mirrored the one which nearly claimed this world. I was one of the several heroes who fell to save. Holy shit. On the 13th? Now I understand what they meant. Now I see why people are going on about this might be 2 expansions or some nonsense. It sets the stage. The boy, you're not the little guy. I have glimpsed him in your memories. He was a friend like him. I heeded the words of the Asians. That I might redress the balance, I chose to come here and hasten a rejoining of worlds. A shard submerged by dark demands, a mirror of blinding light. Primordial forces will strive to achieve equilibrium. There was a solution, a single solution, I believe, were a flood of light to consume this shard in its entirety. It would be of no use. The Asians made it clear it must be brought to the brink, but no further. The task was difficult, but the plan simple. Souls predisposed to light, fledgling heroes in the making. I would bring together Arbor and his comrades and groom them for a higher purpose. I would play the part of comrade and guide their courses, all the while laboring in secret to pit stronger and stronger enemies against them, until finally, once they were warriors of light, brave and true, I would reveal myself as a warrior of darkness and extinguish their radiance forever. Thus would this world be primed for the rejoining, and the source for a calamity. The Asians who called themselves Mitron and Logarith were confident it would succeed. And indeed, Artbert and the others rose to the occasion, as I knew they would. But something happened. It was not to be. I had misjudged Arbert. His comrades before him had made their sacrifices in turn, and as their mirror, I had grown stronger for it. Had he but embraced his role and struck me down, victory would have been mine. But Arbert, dear Arbert, would not forsake his heart. In the end, he chose mercy. He chose love, and I was undone. goodness. The rest you know. He sought out Mitron and Lograf and granted them what he refused me. They accomplished everything they set out to achieve, and then the flood came and washed it away. In the wake of my betrayal, I would look on from the shadows and reflect on my many sins as all fell to ruin, denied death, and then and now, perhaps ever after, as a fragment of my existence endures. But then one day, years ago, my fallen comrades rose again as the cardinal virtues. It coincided with the arrival of the first scions. I later realized a defense against the forces being marshaled to undo my failure. I can but assume the Asians planted the idea in Valtry's head. They were his creations, after all, and with their grave and ignorant territory, it was doubtless a simple matter to have their bodies exhumed and prepared. Who am I to speak? You may think when I say this, but I saw these abominations he had wrought in their image. I was filled with such despair, such anger. I cannot unwrite the past. My soul is stained with the blackest sin, and I will not pretend that it can never be otherwise. But this act, I could not ignore. If the Asians were going to such lengths, then surely others would cross the rift in due time, and so I hatched a plan. I would assume the guise of Celia, and as her, take up residence in the Crystarium, where I would take measures to bring together the most ambitious adventurers, individuals driven by more than mere coin, virtue hunters. That way, when the enemy, the Asians, feared more than any came to the first, the stage would be set. They would join in the hunter's quest, and together I'd make Valtry's simulacras and lay their souls to rest once more. And so you did, Ronald. The virtues are no more, but the one ultimately responsible for their creation, the devil who set them to their doomed paths, lingers still. You know all there is to know of the heroes who saved this world. The truth I kept hidden in the shadows is yours, and there is no more secrets to share, and so I ask you now to grant me that which Arbor could not, death. You still have a duty to others. No, don't do this. Don't you spare me like he did. How can you stand there and say I deserve to live, knowing everything I did? The lives I destroyed, the Chaos Emerald, the Warden's Pale. In comparison, surely there is no greater villain than the Shadow Keeper. There is no villains. There is no heroes, which is why you must live to atone for your deeds. I should have expected a hero to say something like that. How does one even seek atonement? It's an undiscovered country with no charts or stars to guide. How will I ever know when I find it? You just do. You'll know. Perhaps I may yet find purpose in preserving my comrade's legacy and helping others to understand the sacrifices that made them true heroes. For now, I shall return to the Crystarium and continue to assist Glenard while spreading the forgotten tales of the Warriors of Light. You would have been good friends, you and Arbor, in another life. Well, we are good friends. Maybe you and I as well. You don't understand. She's from the 13th. We should be asking questions. We should be asking her about everything. About, what happened to the 13th? Like, what exactly went on? How did it fall? How did it collapse? Like, how did the Axians pull it off? Things like that. Like, keep a record or something, not just... Oh, I can understand why people are like, this storyline sets the stage for things. She's a key component. I tell you, I'm not at all accustomed to wearing armor any longer. Simply moving about in it is enough to tax my strength, and fighting, ugh. Any one of Captain Lana's recruits could probably put me flat on my back. Fortunately, I needn't rely on my sword to spread the truth of the fallen comrades' deeds. When a word in the passage time would see their legacy redeemed in the eyes of the people. Thank you for accompanying me on my journey of remembrance, Ronald. May your deeds ever be remembered and celebrated, as all heroes deserve. Oh. There's another one. Safekeeping. What? Okay, let's... If it isn't Ronald, loitering about the stairs, just like any old day, Kara's worried that you've gone back to your world for good, and I was too late. Too late. It's just that I've been thinking about the crystals belonging to the Warriors of Light. I hear they ended up with you after you lot defeated the Virtues. I assume you have Arbors as well? I ate them. I ate them all. They were delicious. Indeed, that does seem appropriate. His bond with Seto was deep and enduring. As for the others, I had hoped you might be persuaded to leave them in my care. It was only right that they, like Arbor, should accompany you on your journey to set this world back on its proper course. Yet, you now have a home you must return to, while the first is theirs. After all they did to keep it safe, they deserve to be here to see what what its future holds. I don't mind doing that. Well, don't make that face. I know it's a big decision. You need to fall entirely to you. There are others here who care for the Warriors of Light as much as you do, aren't there? Maybe it's best to give them that. Now that's some damn fine ale. How many should I order for you? I know you ain't much of a drinker, so 6, 7? Jeez. What, you want to help deciding the fate of Lamit's Crystal? And the others too? Does this place have any bigger tankards? Well, if you insist. Luquid owes me a drink, plural. Drinks, plural, so I'll make sure he joins us. Let me find Granson while I'm at it. You go on and wait for Sirig and Tainer. Order around while I'm out. Here? Look. Good to see you, Ronald. What did you say that has your roots? You're not so worked up. Crystals, hey? That does sound like a conversation worth getting everyone together for. Did Luke really promise to pay for Gurut's drinks? That's a disaster in the making. Not just hers, rounds for a lot of us. Might be that the lad yet has a few things to learn about coin and the scarcity thereof. Still, I'll not turn down her generosity. Go and tell the barkeep we'll be needing food and ale table. Fine. But please try to exercise some restraint. I'll not carry you back to the room again. Okay. Here we are. How much of a head start did you get? Should I ask them to bring out the cask? I reckon we should hear Ronald out first. So you're telling me that barmaid was one of Nilbert's companions, not to mention the Shadowkeeper, from a different world? It's hanging on a bit thick. It certainly raises questions. Quite, such as how she retained her useful vestige. Not that. But it is I had my suspicions about her. The other night I was at the counter, quivering my aunt, having a grand time, and next I realized I'm outside without a guild to my name. It ain't the first time. Now that just might be you. The Shadowkeeper. And not that you drink enough to build a small army? Oh, smart. Ronnie says it's true. I'm inclined to believe it, which leaves us with the matter of entrusting the crystals to her. She's right. That this was Brandon's home, the others too, and it's home to their most important memories. Not all of them good, maybe, but everyone they loved is laid to rest here. I agree, Nelbert belongs here. Arbert's crystal is with Seto in this world. The Met would want her to be near. Well, Ren as well, I think. She'd want to be with her friends in the place that she loved. That's decided. It seems we all agree. A toast then to the warriors of light. Warriors of light. Wake up, I'm paying, and as bounty hunters, I expect you all to take proper advantage of that. That's not, I hate to disappoint, but I'm not much for alcohol. This juice looks nice though. My juice? No, that's not. That's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. The super good stuff. Jeez, she's still drinking. He's dead. I mean, he's still alive. I can see his chest moving up and down. How did you manage this? Twice the mess in half the time as normal patrons, I swear. I overheard your conversation, by the way. Do you agree with your friends? These crystals are yours, Story Keeper. Their legacies are safe with me. You have my word. Thank you. You feel them. They're memories. Why? Why, damn it? You're all just like Arbert. I betrayed you, I manipulated you, and still. You thought of me as a comrade, a friend, until the very end. Please show him. Please show him. I was hoping they'd show Arbor in the background. We finally managed to clean up after you lot, for the most part. Perhaps next time we should set down a tarpaulin. Nevertheless, I'm grateful for you for entrusting these to me. And as long as I live, I will never stop sharing the true tale of the warriors of light, of my friends. Wait, there's another one? Hero's Journey. It's a level 80 questline. She's not finished with us yet. Seeing a lot of you together like that, it reminds me of the old days. Arbor and the rest drinking and bickering and laughing drove each other half mad at times, but there was never any question of who'd be there when times get tough. Can't help but wonder, can I? If I had had companions like that back home, could it have been saved? I'm not the only one who tried, though. Each of us stood alone. There was Yunu Kali. They say this name, and I'm having trouble remembering who this is. It's the mysterious boy who claims to have come to aid science against the primal. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, that's the boy that helps you with the primal threat in Heaven's Ward. He's the one that tells you about the Warring Triad. We met. He was working with Elizabeth at the time. That nigh unpronounceable name sounds weird. We've met. Yeah. Once I realized who it was. Yes, he too was one would-be savior of the 13th, and was spared his fate demise by Ascian devices, who spoke once after the destruction of our world. The others could be saved, we thought. We'd yet had parts to play. What's he up to now that Elizabeth is gone, though? I have no idea. Has he found himself a new role as I have? Or does he feel as adrift as we were back then? If you ever encounter him in the source, I ask that you help him find a way forward, just as you have helped all of us here. Oh, now we go back to the Rising Stones and talk to them. So yeah. I kinda had... I don't think we've ever really talked. And he's all the way in the back room. He just hangs out in the back room. I just realized this. Yeah. Soon, Totaro. Soon. Just wanted to see how I was faring. You say, oh, that's so sweet. Return. Rest assured, everything is fine. Right now, I'm working on a new. Soon. It's just her. It's so crazy. It's just her, all alone. Ah, 6.1, everybody. Days. Hello. Well, there's also you, but I think you're doing anything at the moment. Oh. Well, met Ronald. What brings you here today? Oyandra did apprise me of your travels to the first, and of what became of Elizabeth at long last. But I was not aware that you were working with Sylvia. I consider her a comrade of sorts. Though our time together was short, looking upon the twisted remains of the world you try to save creates a bond that few can understand. At that time, we spoke of what we could hope to achieve with our newfound immortality and of our regrets. Though I then believed what had appeared to be a natural result of my age and, and experience, I now think this was merely the least painful explanation I could offer myself. Silava is right. We ought to have sought each other out before it was too late. I would not make the same mistake again. With the Warring Triangle gone, I am indeed in need of new purpose, but to seek it alone is folly. I should like to speak with Silva, assuming such a thing is possible. As I mentioned, she understands how I feel more than any other. Of course, all I require is your soul. For real. You speak of the spirit vessel, correct? Oh, the means by which the scions return to the source? If I understand the principles at work correctly, then it was a near miracle that you succeeded in bringing them back without killing them. So he knows about that. I was trying to be scary. If Elizabeth is to be believed, however, my current state makes me something of an exception in matters of life and death. In which case, there is not to be lost from making the attempt. Please say you'll help. What? We need an expert. We need an expert in spirit vessels. Graha? Oyanja? Pray forgive the delay. Thou didst seek my counsel? The gifts granted young located by Heidelin and the Ascians may prove a boon in easing the transition. However, I know not to what extent, not what might befall thy spirit should it be lost betwixt worlds. Nevertheless, I know that this is my path forward. Please, Oyandra. Very well. If thou believest that thou shalt find new purpose in the first, I will do all in my power to see thee safely there. We shall be but a few moments. Mayhap a worthy tome might keep thee occupied while I perform the necessary magics. Oh good, I can read maybe I can finish the rest of that Yaoi book I've been wanting to read for a while. Don't ask where I got the Yaoi book, though. You don't need to know that, people. Not if you do. Wow. That was a read. What a weird ending. It's done. Pray guard his vessels well. And it is as I and the Scions were on the first, a soul with form, yet not true body. 'Tis simple matter to transfer him to the advancer, the vessel, using the self-same process as before. To withdraw his essence across the rip ought to prove similarly straightforward. However, I fear that such an existence cannot sustain itself indefinitely. Look to the Ascians' example. Their persistent use of flesh and blood vessels surely have cause. Be it danger akin to that which would have befallen us had we not turned to the source. I know not, but The time may come when the boy require a fully corporeal form. Should this come to pass, I trust that thou shalt come to his aid. For a moment, however, thou needest only convey the spirit vessel to log. Farewell, both to thee. So, let me get this straight. We're about to do something really, really foolish, huh? That's what I just... sounds like I just said. It sounded like that. Cabinet of Curiosities, please. I didn't think it would be this long. Back again, are you? I'm flattered that you've grown so fond of Narvart. Or it would be, but you have that expression you not always wear when you're about to ask me for something. I'm sorry. You did what? After all of the perils your friends faced and the labors they undertook to return them to your world, you bought another solar customer? Have you no common sense? It's fine. Just freaking magics, whatever. Because it sounds like something Ron would say. There better be a compelling reason for all of this. Well, removing spirit from vessels will be easy enough, I suppose. However, it requires a few moments without your braving down my neck. Also, your friend is unlikely to materialize with clothes on, so I doubt they'll want an audience. You should wait here, perhaps take the opportunity for some self-reflection. Well, very well. At least I tried. We'll find you at the Wandering Stairs directly then. Hi. You want me to speak with someone? Very well, you've done the same at my request often enough. How long are we meant to wait for this friend of yours? I do have work to do, you know. Ah, here you are. Pardon the delay. It took some time to acquire robes of an appropriate size. Is this them? No. Oh. Silva. Unhardly. Indeed it is. Trust me. I can hardly believe that I'm here myself. I should think so. When I sent Ronald to ask after you, it never occurred to me you might be able to cross the rift without asking aid. Lost your taste for subterfuge, I see. Mysterious mask? My choices and reasons are my own now. If I am to have faith in them, in myself, I cannot hide who I am. Good. Speaking of which, what's kind enough to fill me in, and unlike some, and I was interested to hear of an erstwhile hero of the 13th serving libations at the Wandering Stairs. But that this hero should be you surpasses the scope of even my considerable imaginings. I couldn't read any of that, to be honest. Was that you at Gorsla's so long ago? Not so long to me or you, mayhap, though I had thought I might at last put those days behind me. Perhaps this is for the best. They're not all bad memories. They never are. I should very much like to hear your story. Would you be willing to share it? Story. Our world, like this one, had its share of would-be heroes. Myself and among them. Unlike your warriors of light, however, each was unaware of or unconcerned with our fellows. But to fight alone is to fall alone. And the insidious ether of the aura site used to seal primers corrupted once noble souls and turned them, by one, to darkness. Even those who resisted this fate could not escape its consequences. No surprise, perhaps, as we continued to struggle in solitude. We were spared by Asian machinations, but only as our world met its death. But what if that death could be undone? I was told that much of the first was consumed by light, as our home was by darkness, yet balance and life are being restored to even that gourd land they call the empty. Which is, they're talking about the Eden raid. If such a thing is possible, then why not the reverse? Could we not bring light back to the 13th? Even the Asians considered the 13th lost. Thus was it excluded from the rejoining. What say you? You have a way of making miracles happen. The world of darkness is not in a state I consider salvageable. Anything is possible. I believe we can do it. That doesn't sound like an empty platitude. Coming from you, it was the same with Arbert. Pardon the interruption, but might I suggest a closer observation of conditions on the 13th before we form any conclusions? We could use the Crystal Tower to open a void gate, couldn't we? Have you lost your head? The Crystal Tower is not a toy, and you are not to use it to unleash great and terrible void sand upon this world. According to the records, there was a group who worked out how to open small void gates, though which to summon minor fell beasts and the likes. Magics of that nature should work, though I am unsure if any with knowledge of the original technique yet lives. Oh, there's one right over there. How fortunate. Let us inquire with this Tainer immediately. Yes, you do that. In the meantime, I will ready a means for peering into the depths of the void without endangering ourselves. Use these to contact me when you are prepared to open the gate. Is this? We shall at the very first opportunity, I promise. This is not what I expected this to go. Speak with Tainer. It's always a pleasure, Ronald. Aye, but who's your friend? I don't believe we've met. We have not, as I'm not from this world. The situation is rather complicated, but I hope that you might be willing to assist me. It is true that we had the means to open such portals. We called them hollows, and it was through one of these that I was drawn into the rift. So it is possible. Not with my power alone. I understand the greatness of your need, and were Nilbert still at my side, I should be glad to make the attempt, but the technique required the combined forces of our energies and resonance. If one person magic are insignificant, perhaps I could assist. But what I can sense, our ethereal reserves are roughly equivalent. Our physical similarities suggest that our energies are not incompatible. I fear you underestimate the difficulty of the task. Nelbor and I were born for this, and even so, it took us years before our efforts were perfectly in step. I realize that it's a lot to ask considering we just met, but could we not at least attempt it? Yours is the only such magic I've ever heard of. If we might actually be able to save my home. May I interject? You will recall that the crystals in my possession preserve the memories of the former warriors of light, including Nilbert's in ethereal form. Here has a particular palette for interpreting the minds and motives of ethereal beings, primals. If I could apply the same principles to interpret Nilbert's crystal, you'll gain your knowledge and how to do it. An experiment worth trying at the least, I'll bet you. Can I eat that? Don't eat the crystal. Speak to me, Nilbert. Do his memories of Tainer remain? They do, and such strong sentiment with them. Tainer, you should know that Nilbert's desired nothing so much as to rescue you, the dearest friend. He held so fiercely to his memories of the technique you mastered together because he hoped they might be your salvation. Oh, Nilbert, I won't let them go to waste. I will do what I can to help see the 13th restored. Thank you. I won't pretend to understand half of what's going on here. Just keep them from running headlong into anything too dangerous, will you? Nothing to worry about, so long as you're around, I'm sure. Look at White. I nearly forgot. I have a dozen orders to fill. You know where to find me when you've made progress with the gate.